Well, I'm back from the holiday, and as you could tell, I got a little sick, but did have a lovely holiday break, and now I'm here to give you the news. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up, what up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, January 10th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. The only thing people are talking about this week is Sue Storm's butt. That's right, we're talking about Marvel Rivals Season 1. For the past month, it has been in Season 0, and I know that a lot of my friends have been playing it, but Season 1 is launching, and Dracula, as well as the Fantastic Four, are coming to Marvel Rivals, including Sue Storm, whose butt we can't stop talking about. Yeah, I know that it's launching today, and and I've got a lot of friends that are excited for it. So, good to see that. And there's been a lot of comparisons to like Overwatch is now going into its like 14th season or something like that, and yeah. Anyway, so the comparisons are being made, but that's kind of the big game release as we're earlier in the year. I guess that's a big thing that we can talk about this week. So I hope that everybody's hopping in and excited to jump into some new content for Marvel Rivals. Assassin's Creed Shadow, which has been delayed once now, has now been delayed twice. It was delayed out of last year from their usual Q4 release date into February 14th, and it has now been delayed another 6 or so weeks to March 20th. So this is supposedly going to help give them more time to give it some time in the oven and polish it all up. Ubisoft has not been having a good time with making games drop on time. I also assume that this is going to not look good in their current financial year because Ubisoft does an April to March financial year. So whatever they were expecting to make in fiscal year 2024 is probably not going to look well with only a week's worth of sales. But I digress. Yeah, I am hopeful for this game. I'm excited for it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if the 20th of March is the last time it'll be pushed, or if it's going to get pushed anymore, and what they can do with an extra 5 weeks of working diligently on that. So yeah, we'll have to wait to see what Shadows is all about till March 20th. League of Legends also had a pretty cool trailer this week. That kind of kicking off their season of 2025. The interesting angle is that as someone who recently finished Arcane season 2, it kind of feels like an epilogue to Arcane season 2. Like it introduces Mel as both the champion as well as one of the characters in Arcane. And it kind of shows what they're doing after the events of Arcane. So and it's like the way they're really talking about Noxus and the voiceover and the way that Arcane season 2 ended. It actually feels a lot like a also a preview for what's to come. Are we gonna get maybe not Arcane? Are we gonna get some Noxian show as we follow Mel into a different part of Runeterra? I mean just interested in that. I think it would be quite a shame to take something as beloved as Arcane and then not do anything with it. So I hope that we can get more content in that, and love the show, and I know I'm a little bit late to it, but love the show, and hopefully we get more like that sometime soon. The Consumer Electronics Show is also happening this week, and with that we've got a lot of hardware and we've got a lot of rumors coming out talking about the industry as a whole. The biggest one is Switch 2 rumors. I think it started with a peripheral manufacturer. I don't know which one. Started talking about, whispering about potential release dates of April this year, and that announcement's coming up. Talking about the different peripherals that they will be making to support the Switch 2. That there was also a video that I'll have a link to that just kind of has a 3D model that you can kind of look at of the Switch 2. So that seems interesting, and the magnetic Joy Cons that are supposedly going to be involved. So there's a lot of really interesting details. I think Nintendo has come out and said none of this is official. Don't take it with a grain of salt. So the rumor mill has started and there's not a lot going on, so I assume the journalists have all latched onto it. But yeah, a lot of prominent Switch 2 rumors coming out of the consumer CES. So interesting stuff there. Speaking of Nintendo, their next console to get Legoized is has been announced. They're making a Lego Game Boy. The next in line. I don't know that is necessarily the next console. Is that the? I mean, they made it a SNES. They made an NES. Is the Game Boy the next Nintendo console? I guess so. I think they've done it. Have they done a 360 or a 64? Um, Interesting. Yeah, I've been keeping up. I have the original NES Nintendo that I enjoyed making. I think the inevitable GameCube is going to be very very unappealing as a Lego creation, but yeah, I'm interested to see as someone who I owned a Game Boy Color, so I don't know how much nostalgia I have for the big bulky gray Nintendo game original Game Boy, but I know that a lot of people would be very nostalgic for that as well. Also, speaking of coming out of CES, is Lenovo is finally entering the handheld PC gaming space. So Lenovo is another one of the PC manufacturers like Razer and Asus and all the other kind of ones. They're bringing out we got a lot of details. The Legion Go S. There'll be a $500 version and a $600 version. And rather than trying to make their own operating system, apparently Valve is keen to just put their operating system on other people's platforms. So I assume they're going to be collecting all the data that they're going to get from that. But yeah, the Steam OS will be on the Lenovo Legion Go S. So I'm still satisfied with my original Steam Deck. But yeah, there's other ones out in the market that I've got to get my hands on to compare and contrast. PlayStation is also coming out with some pretty cool peripherals and consoles. They're making a midnight black version of their like PlayStation product line. So the headphones, the PlayStation Portal. This might actually get me to switch to a PS5 Pro. I said when I initially got my PS5 that I would have, if they came out with a black version, I would have taken that in a heartbeat because I always like the kind of sleek black look that my Xbox refrigerator delivers for me. But yeah, I think those are all really cool. And if there's anything that can get me to switch, it's making that white eyesore go away. So I might actually jump up to a PS5 Pro if I can get one in midnight black. Otherwise, I don't know that I can tell the difference from the visual quality that the PS5 Pro puts out. But I digress and don't want to poo-poo that too much. Tango Gameworks, the company behind award-winning Hi-Fi Rush, which shuttered after being acquired by Microsoft back in. They got acquired in 23, I think, and then Microsoft shut them down in middle of 2024, like June-ish of 2024. And this was actually kind of really big news. I mean, besides the general layoffs that have been happening in the video game industry, Tango Gameworks was very well favored. Like everyone really liked Hi-Fi Rush. It came out in January and still was nominated in the Game Awards. Like people were still remembering and talking about it. Almost a year later. Like it had a lot of prevalence, but Microsoft still shut them down, and it was kind of disheartening to see that a successful game studio couldn't even maintain in the current gaming climate. So the fact that they're being saved is hopefully a good thing, as they're being saved by Krafton, the company behind PUBG and several other titles. Yeah, this is the PUBG companies coming in, picking up the pieces of Tango Gameworks. I would have assumed that something like this was going to happen. I think I might even have said so at the time. Like I can imagine some other publisher coming in to sweep up and pick up the pieces. But I'm curious how much is left and how much of the original Tango Gameworks that made Hi-Fi Rush will still be there, and whether or not they're working on a Hi-Fi Rush 2 or what they do next. So interesting to see what comes out of that, but glad to see that they've been hopefully mostly picked up by Krafton. For anybody who doesn't know, I live in Southern California, and LA is currently experiencing probably the worst wildfires that have ever existed in my 30 plus years being here. So the only way that the games to make it games related was I saw a couple articles talking about how the Fallout production, which I know is somewhere out in the hills, um, is has been shut down from the fires. I also saw articles about like Riot's offices closing, which is pretty interesting because Riot's in like Santa Monica and it's pretty heavily populated. But yeah, the fires have coming over the hills from the Pacific Palisades fire. So just want to say that like my heart goes out to everyone in that I know that's either watching this or on the newsletter. Like, um, yeah, it's horrible. I hope everyone's staying safe. I know that a lot of friends and coworkers have like fled town, being evacuated. I got the random text that said evacuate, which living where I do was like how close am I? Is it heading west? Like I was very concerned, but turns out that was a false alarm. But yeah, we've been concerned. We've had power the whole time, but that isn't true for people in my close proximity. And yeah, hopefully, knock on wood, no one that I know has lost their home, but I know that a lot of people in the Palisades was completely devastated. So my heart goes out to them, and yeah, I hope everybody's staying safe, and that the fires aren't too damaging to your friends and loved ones. Last but not least, it feels weird to, to transition away from that, but last but not least, also coming out of CES, Sony has started talking about a couple more of their IPs that they're going to take to the silver screen, including the Horizon Zero Dawn franchise, as well as Helldivers 2, which is a good full circle moment because I want, fingers crossed we can get, if not a prominent role, at least a cameo of Casper Van Dien, the main protagonist of Starship Troopers, which Helldivers is obviously very heavily inspired by. So I think it'd be a kind of a good full circle movement. And I actually saw that like I don't know, I don't remember if it. I think TriStar is actually one of the companies that made Starship Troopers. So like it's technically Sony's, the greater Sony wheelhouse. So yeah, let's get some Casper Van Dien in there as well. So and Horizon. I recently played the Horizon Lego game, and yeah, I really like the world, and it's probably the easiest step into the Horizon universe. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do on the big screen with Horizon and Helldivers. So looking forward to those. If you feel I forgot anything, feel free to comment down below or follow me on all of the social medias. You've been using a Blue Sky a lot, so you can follow me there. I have my own Discord. Happy to talk to people about anything video game related down in any of those places. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. Stay safe out there, and I hope you have a super day. Bye.